Welcome to Life on the Road,
a coach's journey,
where the stories are real
and the journeys are better.
This is Life on the Road.
Make sure you subscribe, follow, and share with someone in the game.
Welcome to Season 2 of Life on the Road, a coach's journey. I'm Coach Scott Bollwage.
I'm Coach Alphonza Key.
If you haven't noticed, it's been a while since we've put out a podcast, and one of us went into the transfer portal and he decided to come on back home. So this episode is basically just going to be where we've been, what we've been doing, catching everybody up to speed on our coaching journey, and then go into some new segments that we have that we'll be adding this season on Life on the Road. So as they say, let's get into it. So Coach Key, where have you been and what have you been up to?
Well, I tell you, like you said, the portal is definitely alive for all coaches. First of all, I'm excited to be back on the podcast for coaches, by coaches, not for clickbait, not to evaluate. We just want to celebrate this profession. So I'm excited to be a part and being back. But I had a great opportunity. My life journey, basketball, is just amazing. I was an assistant coach at a university in Winston-Salem State 20 some odd years ago. So starting the business out. They had a player as a senior, Corey Thompson, who I was on staff with him, and he was a player. And then through the basketball journey, I hired him at Fayetteville State. He was an outstanding recruiter, teacher, man of integrity. We had success there. I was coach of the year, a big part of what he did. And then he has an opportunity to go back to his alma mater and be a head coach and call me to come help. So I did that just under 2 years, and back in the mix. The portal was changed. Everything's adjusted. Mars to Venus, but nothing changed as far as young people. But it was a great opportunity for me for about a 2-year span to be a part of it. But now I'm back. I'm back, life on the road. I'm excited to be here and talk about basketball and talk about this great profession. Now, that's enough of me now. What have you been doing? I was watching basketball about a month or two ago, ACC basketball. I come home from practice, man. I'm seeing Miami University versus Louisville, and I'm looking in the second level. I can't find you. I'm looking at the upper deck. I can't find you, and I'm seeing you on the floor at an ACC basketball game. So let me know what that led to, and how did I see you there at all places?
Okay, well, my journey's kind of taking me into radio. Still doing the coaching, still doing basketball camps. But our former head coach that we work for, Jerry Eves, asked me to be a part of his radio show. So I'm on Eves Sports Radio out of Louisville, Kentucky, 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And, when it comes to working your way down to the floor, it just helps to know the right people.
Okay.
And he knows the right people who, in turn, allowed me to know the right people. And next thing you know, I'm shaking hands with the former head coach of Miami, Jim Larinaga, and we're sitting down talking a little basketball. Okay. So, things have worked out pretty well on my end, but happy and excited to be back on Life on the Road. It's so funny when you decided to take this job at Winston-Salem State. You and I, we always talk about the pros and cons of each job that you potentially had in mind. And I would always give you more cons than pros.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, Winston-Salem State comes up, and I'm like, I don't know if I can win this battle here. It went from very few cons to a lot of pros.
Yes.
And that was the one thing where I just couldn't talk you out of it.
Yeah.
And
I tell you one thing also with that, Scott, about our journey, it's bigger than basketball. You know, basketball is
Absolutely.
really a stupid game if it only entails putting the ball through a basket. It is relationships, it's impact. And I had a relationship with the head coach going 25 years ago. And for him to
Right.
drop a hat and work for me, I would have went with him across the country. So it's amazing how the end result is a basketball program building, winning games, losing games. But it all started way back about the most important part I think of this whole profession is relationships.
Absolutely. And when you when you had this opportunity, and I find it really interesting that you're going to now work for a former player
Yeah.
and be a former uh, coach that was on your staff. So how was that going to now work for someone that you put through the fire? You were hard on as a coach because I know
Right.
how you are as a coach. You demand a lot from your players, from
Yeah.
your coaches. Were you when you go on his staff? Were you like, man, like I remember all these times I made him do X, Y, and Z. Is he
Right.
gonna, make me do all these things?
Absolutely. Yeah, I tell you one thing, it's an oxymoron type of profession. There's leadership, there's ego, but the bottom line is service. And at the end of the day, this profession is about serving, sweeping the floors, getting stuff done behind the scenes, helping players, driving all places. So I think a great leader is a guy that serves. So honestly, I knew he was a great man of integrity. I was going to serve him and be successful, and that's all that transpired on my end. But going back to you again, as you kind of tiptoed around sitting in Miami, courtside tickets. How was that transition being with Coach Eves, Sports Radio twice a week, talking about basketball from a different perspective? Give me a little more insight on how that was an adjustment for you.
The one thing that hasn't changed in my relationship with Coach Eves is I never stopped working for him. Now he's actually
That's a great segment.
he's giving me some money again to work for him. And funny enough, like he'll text me, he'll ask me for things
Yeah,
even before I started working with him again.
same here.
And
Yeah.
some people you always just kind of stop what you're doing and get them what they need, get them what they're asking for. And he's
Oh,
one of those guys
one of those
where
guys.
you just have enough respect for certain coaches, certain players where if they need something, you get them what they need and
And that's a
you can
big,
find it. And there's no I'll get back to you. I can't
yeah,
find it. Like you have
unacceptable.
to find those answers.
And we'll talk about, dude, this season coming up that, that's a great learning life skill working with the head coach in this profession because in our profession, there's no excuses. It's just a high success rate, but a high demand rate. So you learn some skills that it needs to get done. And when someone as a head coach, when you're aspiring assistant coach, gives you an opportunity, that's all. I mean, that is something that for the rest of your life you appreciate. And you're right. I'm pretty sure once you get a start with a head coach, he'll need something. You'll always be there for them. But it's a great set. One day we could talk about just what you learn and the intensity of the work environment in a college coaching setting that people don't understand.
Right. And you're absolutely right. And so going back to this, one thing that's been interesting is for me just learning how the radio works
Yeah,
and the ins and outs of the radio and getting the sponsorships and
yeah,
uh, dealing with that side of the radio, the back side of radio, the back office side of radio, where you're starting to learn more about that, and it's been very, very interesting to be on that side of it, and exciting as well. Get a chance
yes,
to talk to people. I don't want to say I have a fan base, but when you're on the radio and now people
yeah,
recognize me as being on the radio with him, feels
absolutely,
good to know that I'm kind of a respected name with esports radio and
yes,
everything that we do. And again, always looking forward to Tuesdays and Wednesday mornings on Eve Sports Radio. I think it's KRD 1080. Look it up on iHeart. You can listen to it. They replay the episode, so it's always fun. And going back with someone you've known for, God, I've known Coach Eves 23 years.
Yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's an easy conversation with him.
Well, I'll tell
And
you one thing.
everything.
I mean, cut you off, Coach Bollwage, but I listen to it often. Y'all do a great job. It has I think two elements that really draw me outside relationship is one, you're competent and you're authentic. And so there's not an agenda one way or the other, and you're fair in class. But I enjoy the research that's done in the radio show, the authenticity, and there's a resource. I enjoy it. I know you guys on a personal level, but just the radio platform, as well as what we're doing now on podcasts, I love coaching. I mean, I love it, but I
Yes.
love it in not just winning a game or doing a ball screen the right way. I love all that entails. So for me to talk about coaching, what it does, I think of impact, think of leadership, I think of life change, and also coaches. I want them to be shown in a unique light, because usually coaches are in the media for four reasons. Once they get hired,
Yep.
if they win or lose a game, when they get fired, questioning their statistics or questioning their philosophy. So I just want to let guys know the journey. And our journey is so relevant because we're here because of a plethora of different roads we've taken and people we've met. So I'm elated to be here, and the game has changed so much. I mean, from Portal D3 to D2 to D1 to JUCO, the women's game. It is a smorgasbord of an exciting time in college basketball. I'm looking forward to talking about it and showing you these great men that we call coaches.
Yep. And we're excited to be back with season 2. New coaches, some alumni from season 1 coming back on.
Absolutely.
Some different segments that we've got cooked up for everybody, and just going to be an exciting new season of Life on the Road. And speaking of the new segments, we're going to get into those new segments so we can kind of get everybody prepared for what to expect with these new segments. Yeah. The first one we've got is Hoops Took Me Here and Hoops Took Me There. And it's going to be the best place that basketball has taken us, and then also the most obscure, off-the-wall place basketball has ever taken us. So, Coach Key, I'll let you start with the best place that basketball has ever taken you.
The best place where basketball has ever taken me, I would say it would have to be Hawaii. For me, Hawaii. Just going out playing University of Hawaii. You and I were on the same staff at that time. Yep. Then we stopped in L.A. for another story where Kobe had 64 points in 3 quarters, but another time frame. But, I thought it was just phenomenal to be playing a basketball game, preparing for a game 3 or 4 days before the game started, and seeing that unbelievable atmosphere and scenery. So that's amazing to me that basketball took me for free to Hawaii. And then I say the most obscure place or unique place I found myself, we were playing University, what was it, Washington State, I think.
Yes, Washington State.
Bennett. Yeah, they were real good. But for some reason, we were staying in a different state. You remember that? Idaho.
Yes.
So I find myself, I think the day before the game, we're in Idaho, a decent hour trying to find something to eat, and I'm walking out to a wing spot, bar and grill type of atmosphere in the evening, and it looked like it was very unsoulful. But you can't judge a book by its cover. Walked in there and I had the best wings I've had in my life. So I will never forget those 2 places, and because of basketball, that's where it took me.
Okay, that's 2 great places, and 2 places I remember vividly for those experiences.
I'm right back at you, Coach Bollwage. Give me 2 places that from one extreme to another that basketball has taken you.
All right, so I'll piggyback off the Hawaii trip that we took So we went at A&T, we went twice. So first time was with you, and then you had moved on, and we went a second time, and the second time we went to Maui.
Okay.
And Maui was much better than Honolulu. Just
Okay.
had it so good. I was just like, I got to get back there. And the funny story about that is, so as soon as we get to the hotel, we go, and anybody that knows Jerry Eves, he's a big time golfer. He's not good, but
Absolutely.
he loves playing.
All right.
So
I will not second that he's not good. That's what you said. I'll make sure that's Coach Bollwage by himself, not Life on the Road Production, said he's not good. He thinks he's great.
Right. So we get right off the bus, get checked in, and he says, Scott, get us a tee time.
Absolutely.
So we play. Believe we didn't practice the first day. We practiced the second day.
Okay.
And then the day of the game, we have a afternoon game, and we had a shoot around at 10 a.m., I believe. And he looks at me and he's like, so how long is it to the gym for the shoot around? We're like, about 45 minutes. So 45 minutes there, hour shoot around, 45 minutes back.
Right.
He's like, now we ain't going to do the shoot around. Go get us another tee time. So we played golf that morning.
Yeah.
And then went to the game, played Hawaii very well.
Okay.
One thing I remember about Hawaii is their fans were phenomenal.
Okay.
They were very, very respectful.
Yeah.
Cheering, booing, but nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Just being fans.
Mm-hmm.
And thought that was a great thing.
Yeah.
Ran into old college buddy of mine out there. Shout out to Flav if he ever watches this. Yeah. Had a good time with him out there. And then I'll say the most obscure place, off the wall place I've ever been to is basketball took me is Alaska.
Okay.
And I was working
Easy trip.
What's that?
Easy trip. One flight. Yeah. No change of flight. Straight
Greensboro to Orlando, 4-hour layover in Orlando. Orlando to Seattle, Seattle to Anchorage, spend the night in Anchorage, and Anchorage to a small airport, to a smaller airport, which is where we did it. Yeah.
Okay.
So we did a basketball camp in a little town of Iggyagig, Alaska.
Okay. I've never heard. Okay.
Not too many people do.
Gotcha.
225 miles west of Anchorage. But I was working with Coach Lynn Ramage at the time, and he knew some people out there, and we coordinated the trip, and I was just blessed enough to be a part of that trip.
Yeah.
To go out there and do basketball camp for a week in Alaska. So that's my basketball took me here, and basketball took me there.
Yeah, that's definitely a contrast. Basketball is unbelievable. That is amazing.
No, I can honestly say basketball has taken me to, I think, 43 out of the 50 states.
Yeah.
So,
hey, those journeys are something else.
Absolutely. So now our next segment that we're going to add on to this season, we're calling it Remember the Time.
Remember the times.
And every coach has a story of a practice going wrong, a scouting report going wrong, a recruiting trip going wrong, and you sit there with your old assistant coaches that you may have worked with, and it's always remember the time when we were in LA and Kobe scored 64 and we didn't go to the game.
I'm still sick. I'm still sick. Do not remind me.
So, Coach Key, give us a remember the time.
Remember the time, okay? We will not talk about who I was working for. I worked at a plethora of different coaches, but it was back in the time where the summer recruiting period was extremely long, like 21 straight days in July. So a little different now, the open period, evaluation period. So it was usually a few different spots across the country that kind of had all the players, different events. I think Vegas was one, Orlando, Indiana, parts of California, but this
Yep.
a major hubs for AU events as they were going with their shoe circuit starting to get big. So here was one in Las Vegas. I
Okay.
forgot the name of it, but I think Adidas was a big culprit in that. So we're leading. Usually, what happens before the period, we kind of get organized a month in advance in reference to where you're going to be, your flights, and
Hmm.
all that. And you try to organize who you're seeing, and you're doing two things. You're doing evaluations at the same time you're making decisions. So a lot of time, assistant coaches are doing the groundwork, and their head coach comes out there to see if he's a guy want to offer a sign. So before the trip, we're meeting, and right about then, everything was not online yet in reference to social media, but it was kind
Sure.
of paper. So there was a big tournament in Vegas, and we're deciding on these packets back then cost $300-400, expensive, and so sometimes you pay for it, sometimes you're trying to figure out if you're a low or mid major. So we're in the office with our head coach and a co-worker of mine, assistant coach, was saying, we could possibly kind of print these thing off and make you a schedule.
Right.
But it's probably best if we pay for the packet because the packet has exact players and times and adjustments. And the head coach was like, we need we don't need to pay for it. We got some kids on a list. You guys just print it out for me. Coach did a great job. It was my coworker printing out from the internet for free and marking down all the schedule the kids need to see. But we were kind of leaning towards, hey, need to pay for the packet. But he was like, no, the head coach, no, we want to pay for it. So we're like, okay, whatever you want. It's probably not the best thing to do, but you do what you're told. So we get out
Right.
there, and my colleague and my assistant coach, we're separate than the head coach, two different hotels would have you. So we have a schedule. And again, the schedule is coming from a few weeks before from online. So long story short, we're calling the head coach, let them know at 10 a.m. we're at university at school X. Now, mind you, these games are at 50 different high schools,
Right.
Thomas and Mack Arena. So we give him the schedule. So he asks us, number one, he calls a colleague of mine because he's lost. They always get lost. Where's the gym at? So we map out the gym for him. It's like 50, it's a while back, so it wasn't all the advance we have now, get him to the gym, okay? But because we don't have the official packet with the schedule, the players,
Okay.
um, the game doesn't happen. It's a different team. They made a change, but we don't know the change because we don't have the official packet. So he calls us and we meet him at another gym. Okay. He calls us up in the bleachers in between a game. It's a gym where the game isn't going on. He is yelling at us where he says, come follow me. So myself and my colleague, we're following our head coach in the gym up to the top of the bleachers as if no one's there. He is cussing us out. You son of a guns. When I come here, you need to make sure the game is right, the player's right. Don't you ever have me. I'm going to fire you, son of a guns, right now. He's up there screaming at us at the top of his lungs and in a meeting. And other coaches, like, they're ignoring us. That's the business. But
Right.
I got fired because he didn't want to buy the packet and they changed the game. So that is a story that is relevant to this new topic. I got fired in Las Vegas, myself and my colleague at the top of a bleacher because of a packet that he didn't want to get.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Anybody that's in this profession has probably been through some form or fashion of this.
But I got hired 10 minutes later. So I didn't lose
Right.
my
Of
job.
course.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah. This is
course.
before, different era then. No Twitter, way before that happened. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's my story, coach. Just think about that one.
That's pretty good. That's pretty impressive.
I won't say his name. You may know him.
So yeah, I'm sure I do. That's a good one.
Coach Bollwage, remember the times. Our new segment is season 2. Please let us know. Give me one of your great stories of many. Remember
Woo.
the times that we look forward to going back with you in time.
All right. So Man, so many to choose from. All the times we've been together, different coaches. But I'll go to remember the time when I was coaching at a college, and the head coach calls me up early in the morning, and he said, Scott, my worst nightmares just came true.
Oh
And
no.
I'm like, what
Got
happened,
fired.
coach? Coach, is everything okay?
Yeah.
And he said, I accidentally threw my false teeth in the garbage. So couldn't find them. And now he's got to show up to practice with no front teeth. So it wasn't like, the bottom, but it was like the top front teeth.
Oh, that's
So
wild.
he shows up, and I mean, he's talking the whole practice. He's talking like this.
No teeth.
Just everything was. He tried to stay out of the way as much as possible, and just giving directions like this. And I think at the very end, he may have showed everybody, but he definitely showed the coaching staff what happened. So, yeah, not as elaborate as getting fired as yours, but
Yes.
it was interesting to hear and see that when like you're on the phone on the other end trying not to laugh about the situation,
Trying to
and you're
help your
trying
head coach,
to
man. Serve
have
him.
some type of sympathy. But yeah, that was an interesting time.
Remember the times. And
Yeah.
I got fired about 3 more times that year.
Yeah,
So did I think you did as well when you came on staff. But back then, that was a regular. Get the job done every day.
absolutely. So to wrap it up, again, we are back for season 2, and we are excited about what we have in store for everybody. And Coach Keith, take us on out.
In
Yep.
conclusion, we're so excited about season 2. We're back. We're enthusiastically grateful to serve these coaches, a podcast for coaches by coaches. Again, we're not here to evaluate, not here for clickbait. We're here to celebrate. Again, looking forward to you guys tuning every week. And again, we have some surprises as well for you.
All right. So until next time,
I'm Coach Alphonza Key.
and I'm Coach Scott Bollwage,
Keep it on the road.
and keep it between the lines.
Now that's another stop on the journey, but the road doesn't end here. New stories, new coaches, same game. This is Life on the Road, a coach's journey. Make sure you subscribe, follow, and share with someone in the game.